candlestick holders, fire rakes, nest hooks, anything that's asked of us. Everything there on the table is made right here in the shop. Y'all are welcome to pick it up and look at it a little bit closer. Right now, every once in a while, we don't have any orders that we have to fulfill, so we get to make whatever we want to make, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm working on a knife. Now, I cut off a small section of this lawnmower blade right here. Lawnmower blades are a great source of tool steel. I cut off a small square section, and I'm going to thin it out and draw it out to be a lot slimmer. Once it's a lot slimmer, I'm going to then work on the profile of the actual knife itself. Now, to do that, I have to heat it up to about 2,000 degrees. When it's at that temperature, you heat up metal, it changes colors, and you can tell what temperature it is based on the color that it is. So, whenever you heat it up to about 1,000 degrees, it's still a black color, but once you heat it up past that, it turns to a dull red, then to bright red, and orange, and yellow, and finally white. It starts to melt. Now, of course, I'm not going to bring this up to a white color since I don't want to melt whatever I'm working on. But I'm going to bring it up to a nice yellow color. Whenever it's that color, nice and malleable. It's of course still really hard because this is tool steel and it takes a long time to forge out. So this is the most tedious point in the process because I can only get a few hammer swings in between heating it up. Because that handle right there, since there's so much material, it keeps its heat really well, so it's usually very cold, so it kind of saps the heat right from what you're working on. As y'all can tell, this is the right color since it's nice and yellow.
Do you see it's bright yellow? Watch, it's so hot, it's yellow. It's gonna and that's how it is.
Now you can see it starts to bow as you hit it. So every once in a while, I flatten it back out because I don't want it to fold over on itself. Also, the edges tend to mushroom out since you're striking directly on them. The heat isn't always as even as I want it to be. So, and eventually, this gets drawn out quite a bit. Since there's so much material that I have here, it will eventually be about this long, I'd say, before I start to shape it out. Around to the other side. Now you can see it's already starting to cool off to this black color. Of course, you don't want to work it too much whenever it's that dark of a color because if you work on it too much, it can lead to stress fractures. You know how if you bend a paperclip too much, it can break? It's the same exact method. If you work on it too much while it's cold, it can lead to stress fractures, and further on down the line, after you've finished whatever you're working on, if you give it to that person, it can just snap and break on them. And of course, if it's really sharp, that can lead to injury, which is not very nice. Eventually, this is going to come out to be a lot prettier than it is now. It depends on how long you want to work on whatever you're working on. I believe, there it is. This I finished about 2 days ago. It was made from this exact lawnmower blade here. Of course, you can tell it's really ugly, sort of mangly, kind of gross looking, but you can turn it into something a lot prettier. But that, of course, took about 3 weeks to make. Eventually, this will be given as a gift. Most of the things that I make here in the shop are just for other people. I haven't really made myself much, but eventually I'll make something for myself. But it's not fully sharpened yet, so this isn't going to be very impressive. But I've sharpened it to about 2,000 grit. Most knife sharpeners bring it up to about, it's still fairly sharp.
Wow.
I use sandpaper. Yes, sir. It takes a long time, especially when you get to the higher grits, because you can't really tell that there's much of a difference between the thousands of grits. Because I believe I have an example of some sandpaper here. This is the highest grit that I've brought it up to. y'all are probably used to nail files and how they change their grits and slickness, but this is. But this yes, all of that was filed by hand. I didn't use any grinders for it, so I had to be very consistent with my edges, which took a lot of time.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for coming out. I believe if you don't have your edge very consistently straight, then your edge will end up rolling, and that can lead to having a knife that's just not sharp. So I try to keep very consistent, and if you are, it can be as sharp as that knife there. Got what I
I
said.
have a question.
Yes.
Why are the anvils so big?
Okay.
Why
so
not make just a smaller one to use?
that's
Seems like
actually
a waste
good
to make it
question.
so gigantic.
Yes, some projects, of course, require that you use a larger anvil since it's such a large project. But the knife that I'm working on is really small. You'd think I would work on a smaller anvil like that one there. But this one, since it's so large, the reason that we use it is because of the sound it makes. This is called a dead ringer anvil. It's actually slightly hollow on the inside.
有人。
I've seen the other houses. This house number 1, house number 2 you've seen? Okay. Last one? Alright. Now this is the Davis house. This is part 3 of the story. We tell the story of one family that lived here, starting with Henry Jones. And he settled this area in 1830, and then we end in the 1930s, so about 100 years of history. Now this family, like I said, is part 3. The reason it has a different last name is because the land was actually inherited by the ladies of the family for the most part. It started with Henry Jones. One daughter inherited, then another daughter, and then another daughter. It ends with the last daughter, Mamie George. So Davis is the family name because that's her husband's name. So Susan Davis lives here. Her grandfather settled this area. Now in the house, this is where you entertained your guests. You showed off to your guests. It had the best items, and for that reason, kids were not allowed because kids like to play. So they avoided having kids in here as much as possible. But you can see it's set up for Christmas and ready for the holidays, so that's what would have been done at that time. Any questions about this room before we go to the next one? All right. All right, squeeze in as much as possible. We got a pretty big room. Now this room is the study. I also like to call it the man cave because mostly men hang out in here. Now at this time you had very strict rules where men could only have certain conversations among other men and women could only be moved. It was moved here over the course of 3 days by 2 big trucks because it was about to be demolished in the city of Richmond. But originally this was a city home and it would have been in the city.
What year was it in?
1977. Yeah, so 1977. Originally, a lot of nurses had it, and they were using it as a nurse dormitory when we got it. And they were about to demolish it to make room for the hospital. So picked it up and moved it here. All right, we'll head to the next room if nobody has any questions about this room. But this is kind of called the ladies' parlor because mostly the ladies use it. So the men would go to the study, and ladies tend to come over here. Here, ladies could do things like have tea parties. They can read the Bible. There's a family Bible right there. They can also play music and just kind of enjoy each other's company and hang out. It also kind of served as a family room too, so kids were most of the time allowed in this room. They could hang out here also. No, they didn't. I didn't say it was fair. I'm just saying how it was over from the 1900s. They're 1900s from the law, so everything is super old. Oh, at least 100 years old. Well, you follow me. We head to the dining room. Any questions about this one? No. All right. The rest is. Excuse me, ma'am. I'm gonna get right here. Now this is the dining room. This is where the family ate their dinner. Now who here is under the age of 14? There's some more that ain't raising their hand. At this time, you would not eat with the family. You would eat in the kitchen until you reached the age of 14. Then you could come eat with the rest of the family. The reason they did that was you had to remember 200 to 300 rules of etiquette before you could eat with the rest of the family. So you had to know your table manners, how to sit properly, how to This cup belonged to the dad of the house. This is a mustache cup.
Oh my goodness.
Now, Judge Davis actually did have a mustache, a very big mustache, and his kids bought this for him so he wouldn't get coffee or anything wherever he's drinking into his mustache. One of our employees called this adult sippy cup, so that's what it meant, adult sippy cup. But other than that, for the most part though, it was very formal, and this is where you entertain the guests, and the table will always be set. So even spirit, so it would make those treats. You see the potato peeler right here to peel potatoes. This is a corn grinder. They could grind corn to make cornmeal, and of course their eggs and everything like that. And this is actually a grocery list of the family, so you can look at it to see what kind of things you would have bought at that time. But that is a real grocery list from the family. And now, and like I said before, if you're a young kid under the age of 14, you would be eating in here for the most part until you learned your manners. Now, another thing I like to point out, a few items. This copper thing right here is actually a washing machine. That's kind of one of the older versions. It would actually feed, you would pump water from the bottom of it, pump it through here, and then water would spit out, and then you would turn it to agitate the clothing to kind of clean clothing. I don't know how effective it was, but it was a start. So, now also another item I like to point out in that pantry, there's a black cylinder item. Anybody want to take a guess what that is? The black cylinder thing against the wall? It is a vacuum. You are correct. It is a vacuum. Now it's a terrible vacuum, but it was a vacuum. It was kind of to show off wealth, but it wasn't actually effective. They didn't use it often. You actually had to actually pump it, put out the dirt or whatever, and then go again and pump it again. It wasn't effective, so they didn't use it often. But it was just there, just to show it off. You can just sit right there on that counter. Right there.
Upstairs. It gets so steep, like the further.
And just wait for me in the hallway, and I'll be up there in 1 second. Now you notice the furniture as you walk in, those are real longhorns, and they actually built the chair out of longhorns. So very Texian, I guess. Just our stereotype. Now the hallway is very big, and that is done on purpose, and the reason for that is to allow, this house has no AC. Originally, it does now, but they will open these doors, and they allow the air to flow through. It will cool the house, kind of like a natural catch the wind current. So that's why it's so big like this. Go ahead and sit that room right there. You do it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's no AC. Now this is the master bedroom. This was shared by, this right there is kind of hard to see because of the lighting, but that is Judge Davis right there. This is his wife, Susan. Now there's two that live here, and they also have two children, and two children who are full seals next to their children. But there's one person.
待会儿人都来了，哎。
belongs to Mamie George. This is their daughter's room. At the time, her name is Mamie Davis. But then when she gets married, her and her husband had their last house. Here's a picture of her and her husband, to-be husband Albert, and that's their engagement photo. Now you notice that her hair is in the bun. That's significant at that time because if a woman's hair was in a bun, that meant she was either a married woman or a full-grown woman. So usually your dad decided when you put your hair in the bun. So if you want to keep it in the house longer, you get the hair in the bun longer. But so this is when she left the married. Now all these items are original. This is her bed. This was her dresser, her side table, and also her fireplace. This is all made.
他们用的是青花瓷，还是中国的山水。比如。这还有个青花瓷，这不是中国的这个清朝的那种铜镜吗？这他两个孩子吧。洗手间呢，这是。这个乔治农场庄园我们就逛完了，这是他进门的时候的一个大的入口。这棵树也有点年纪了，是吧？这是黄包车，这是草垛。你高一些，你才拍得到吧？我这拍到栏杆上了。羊，这是羊。小白马回去了。商店里卖的，好玩吧？圣诞老人在荡秋千。